That's always my philosophy. Just go out there and have fun. Try your hardest, give it everything you got, and if you win or lose, it doesn't make any difference. It's about how you feel about how you played the game. But I know that I will never not give everything I have to every moment that I'm doing whatever I'm doing. It may not be good, but I'm trying.
Like any good athlete, the man they call Meat Loaf has always given 110%. His 1977 album, Bat Out of Hell, would sell over 30 million copies worldwide. That's not just a home run, that's a grand slam.
Holy cow, I think he's gonna make it.
25 years after the release of that landmark album, Meat Loaf once again steps up to the plate with his new disc, Couldn't Have Said It Better. This is the story of Meat Loaf. I know that you've talked about football, a football game being like being on stage.
Football is my way of life. That's the one I relate my stage to. It's like a football game. It's that precise. You never know what's going to happen at any given moment on a football field. But yet, at the same time, it is very calculated. When the ball is snapped, you got no control over it. And that's what happens. We set it up and we do and we gear. But when they hit that first chord in that guitar, it's snapped, and we're going anywhere.
And it's the same thing. Any of these athletes, football's a little more intense than a baseball game, though.
Yeah.
Before you get ready to play a football game, it's a little more intense. It's like I have, good friends that are baseball players, and, I'll be in the locker room like at Yankee Stadium with a Don Mattingly, for example, and we'll be sitting here talking, and you'll get, 20 minutes before game time, and they're different human beings. They're like, their eyes are glazed, and it's like, whoa, we're playing,
Does that happen to you before you hit the stage?
Oh yeah. I mean, I go in about 2.5 hours.
I think baseball is a really cool analogy for looking at one's career as well. You have the home runs, sometimes you strike out, but inevitably, ideally...
Yeah, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Sorry, couldn't resist that.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. But as long as you gave it your all and you had fun, and it doesn't matter.
Well, that's what I used to say, because I've coached a lot of baseball and softball girls and boys, and that's always my philosophy with them when we were playing is, just go out there and have fun. Try your hardest, give it everything you got, and if you win or lose, it doesn't make any difference. It's about how you feel about how you played the game.
Well, I remember every little thing as if it happened only yesterday.
I didn't like Marvin anyway. From the time that I can remember not wanting to be called Marvin, if you're a big kid, you need a name like David, or you need a good, strong name. I'm sorry if there's Marvins out there. To me, it's like this really wimpy name.
It's Meat or Meatloaf?
It's Meat. Ever since I was 4 years old, my dad gave me that name, so I was named after a large slab of cow, that's all. My mother said to me when I was a kid, good thing you're not going to grow up to be a singer. I swear, that's exactly what she said to me. We're riding in a car, and I'm singing along the radio. I remember being stopped at the traffic light. We're stopped, and she looks over at me, and she goes, it's a good thing you're not going to grow up to be a singer. Then we drove off. I didn't go to audition for Hair. By 6 o'clock that night, I was a member of the Los Angeles cast of Hair. And I arrived at 11 o'clock in the morning to get a job as a parking attendant. It was a fluke. I went to get a job in a parking lot and wound up doing Hair same day. Hair was the beginning. It was like a big domino trail, and it's continued. My dominoes have just been in a line. Because if I hadn't gotten Hair, I would have never met Steinman. Steinman never met me.
I can see myself tearing up the road faster than any other boy has ever gone. Oh, and my skin is raw, but my soul
got turned down by every record company 4 times because they kept going, you're great. They kept saying to me, you're great, but these songs, what are you doing with these songs? When I was trying to get a record contract, the record companies would call me up and say separately to this manager, look, we think he's incredible, but this music is not going to make it. This music is just too Broadway, it's too theater stuff. And I'm saying it's not. It's not rock opera, it's not any of the above. It is rock and roll songs. It's what rock and roll is meant to be. And they would all say that. And so, I mean, I really stuck my guns with Jim Steinman because I could have gone with Nugent, I could have been in REO Speedwagon, I could have been in Foreigner, I could have been in endless number of bands and had my own deal with CBS that they were, or Epic. They were happy to give me a contract, but not with Jim Steinman. And I just said, you're wrong.
Well, come on, hold on tight. Though it's lonely, lonely in the deep dark night, I can see paradise by the dashboard light. Ain't no doubt about it, we were doubly blessed.
I've always said that Jim Steinman's material, he uses these vehicles, he uses these things, but they always say, you can always read between the lines, and they always say something other than actually what they're saying.
And then you took the words right out of my mouth. Oh, it must have been while you were kissing me. You took the words right out of my mouth. Oh, and I swear it's true. I was just about to say I love you.
Do you think that without his material you would have made it the way you made it?
Yeah, I would have been successful because I am a live performer, and I would have succeeded to a live extent. Without those songs, no, Bat Out of Hell would not sold as many records because each added to the other. Without me touring, Bat Out of Hell was sitting at 300,000. With me touring, Bat sold about 8 million. Without those songs, no, Bat Out of Hell would not sold as many records. One plays the other. If they hadn't have seen me do those songs, you know, maybe 2 million. You know, maybe none. I don't know.
Everything that's happened with Bat Out of Hell and $3.55 will get me, it's actually $3.15, will get me a Starbucks cappuccino. What's happened in the past has no relevance now. It's how you do your work. Not how many records you sell, not how much money you got in the bank, not anything. It's how you do your work. And when you're doing it, did you give it everything that you possibly can give? And if it's bad, it's bad, and you just deal with it on that level.
See, Bat Out of Hell was successful before it ever sold a copy, because Bat Out of Hell was successful to me because it was the record that I wanted. In other words, it served its purpose right from the time it was made. It was done, and it was exactly what we wanted it to be.
Every day, every week, you must hear a story of what Bat Out of Hell has done to someone's life. It is a
all the
soundtrack.
time. Well, I always say, well, at least we know why we did it. You know, you always want to know why things happen. And there's certain events, I mean, there was one, I've had some tragic and some not so tragic and some I find really funny, and I've made jokes about them. Like, I was a young man in England who was in a coma. And he was in a coma for months, and his mother, every day, all day long, it was his favorite record was Bat Out of Hell. And so she put these little headphones on him and played Bat Out of Hell over and over again. And I met him on a TV show, and I said, well, yeah, he came out of the coma, because eventually what he did, he woke up and said, well, you turned the damn thing off. And you know, but there's those kind of stories, you know, that are great. I can't tell you how many people come up to me and told me, hey, man, I got laid in the back seat to Paradise by the Dashboard Light. My favorite is that the women who come up to me and go, I gave birth and Paradise by the Dashboard Light was playing. And the reason they can do that is because the damn thing is so long, you know. I'm happy that people, you know, got laid and had babies and fell in love, and I mean, that's what life's about. Those are those moments. There's those kind of stories, you know, that are great. And There was a story, a young lady in Toronto was going to commit suicide, and Heaven Can Wait came on the radio.
Heaven can wait.
And at that point, I said, that's why we did Bat Out of Hell. It was for, you know, for that. There was no other reason that we were supposed to. When you listen to Bat Out of Hell, you're not borrowing it from me. It belongs to the person who's listening to it. It really seriously does. I really try to let the music to be their story as opposed to being my story or a story that you imagine.
Now don't be sad. Don't be sad, 'cause 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
No, I'm a sex guy.
That happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've been considered a sex symbol for quite some
Absolutely.
time.
6 years ago, I was voted 10th sexiest male in Playgirl. Come on, not bad for an old guy.
It never felt so good, it never felt so right. And we're glowing like the metal on the edge of a knife. Glowing like the metal on the edge of a knife. Come on, hold on tight. Oh, come on, hold on tight. Oh, it's cold and lonely in the deep dark night. I can see paradise by the dashboard light.
It is the pure essence of what they call rock and roll. And because I say that, and some people go, oh, it can't be. But it is, because it evokes passion and emotion from a listener. And because it is a timeless record, it will do it again and again and again to you. And it will regenerate itself. These songs are so emotional. And they're so passionate and they're so real. I mean, they really connect to it emotionally. What I do lyrically is that I will take the lyrics to a song. The lyrics have to not only be from my point of view as the singer, they must be about your point of view if I'm singing to you, and they must also be from the point of view of these people out here. So I circle the lyric and draw every bit out of it that you can get out of it. But the passion to it is inherent in it. You don't have to work for it. The minute the song starts, it comes because it's built. The passion is there, the fire's burning.
So open up your eyes, got a big surprise. It'll feel alright. Never wanna make your motor wrong.
I think passion is a really good way of describing your vocal delivery.
Yeah, it's the only way I can. I don't know how to sing other than, I'm not a singer. I don't think of myself as a singer. I can't sing. I don't know how to sing.
So what do you do?
I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. I really don't know how I get through it. I don't know, because if I just start trying to sing, I can't sing. I have to go to different places mentally to be able to do it. It doesn't come natural.
I'll never be able to give something that I just haven't got.
Girls fell in love with you?
I'm a sex guy.
That happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've been considered a sex symbol for quite some time.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. It was, 6 years ago, I was voted 10th sexiest male in Playgirl. Come on, not bad for an old guy.
What was the scarf?
I still have it. I brought it back this year.
Was that a gimmick or did it actually
Yeah.
serve a function?
No, that really served a function because I would sweat so much on stage that my friend Armand Calais said, God, you need something. You gotta do something about that. So he handed me a bandana and I used it on stage to just, wipe my face. Because he goes, this is ridiculous. I can't stand here and watch you sweat like this. You gotta do something about this.
It lent itself to a mystique with this guy on stage.
Yeah, and then Pavarotti copied it with a white scarf. Yeah, Pavarotti started taking the white scarf on stage after I started taking the red scarf on stage.
'Cause 2 out of 3 ain't bad. We can talk all night, but that ain't getting us nowhere.
You get this success, and people like success. And people like being around something that is successful. They feed off of it, and it becomes a frenzy. And I wasn't ready before for the frenzy. It was like I'd get into these situations and I'd be like panicked. And so if you get panicked, it doesn't help you mentally at all. You get panicked and you get caught up in it, and you get caught up in this frenzy. Oh, there was a real pressure after Bat Out of Hell to follow it up. And I had real problems with what was going on, with the songs that were coming out, that were being written. You know, they were just trying to be copies of Bat Out of Hell, and I won't try to copy anything. In 1979, I went into the studio to do the record to follow up Bat Out of Hell. And I quit the business because I said right then and there I was not going to duplicate Bat Out of Hell. I hate that, and it drives me crazy. Because people, you know, send me songs all the time, and all they do is listen to stuff and try to copy it, and it's really bad and tacky and nasty.
I don't know who you are, what you do, where you go, and you're not around. I don't know anything about you, baby, but you're everything I'm dreaming of. I don't know who you are, but you're a real dead, bring up a love. A real dead, bring up a love.
I always wanted to know what a comeback was. Well, I don't know what a comeback is. I was just sitting on the bench for a little while. I didn't really come back. I could always do what I could always do. It just so happens that then all of a sudden here I am doing it again, and it's not really a comeback.
If I could only find out what's how to see. Oh, it's there in my eyes. Oh, can't you see me tonight? Come on and look at me and be out and me.
I felt wonderful about Dead Ringer. I don't expect it to sell what Bat sold. If it does, great. Most people do. I don't. I don't know. I don't measure success on volume.
I'm happy it came out. You know, I mean, you got to think of how many millions Bat Out of Hell sold. Dead Ringer, what, did 4 million, which wasn't bad. It's what it was. I mean, I had a huge hit with Cher. Again, you know, that cliche, it was big in Europe, but it was. And you had that one, led to another one, and they build up, and you just make more. In 1978, when Bat Out of Hell was like it was really the biggest selling record in the world. It was doing like 400,000 copies a week, which is, wow. I don't know, I can't even imagine that many people at one time. And we lost sight of what we do it for at that point in time. And it was like being in hell, because we weren't who we were and who we started to be. And people said, well, you changed, and we did change in the sense that I lost my motivation. And what it was always about the work. It wasn't about being a star. I could care less. What my motivation is to be the best that I can be, because it became about selling records. It became about billing. It became about how much money somebody was making. It became about all those things. And it became about my ego, but not the fact that I wanted to be a star. My ego saying that you were wrong and I was right.
You know you've arrived when you get hit with lawsuits.
Oh, yeah, well, you still get hit with lawsuits. Stupid law, I mean, all the time.
Is it greed on other people's...
Yeah, oh, it's totally. I mean, it's like they have no, you know, and you settle with them. It's stupid, because, and it's, the laws need to change, because frivolous lawsuits, you know, and you wind up giving them money because it's going to cost you more to go to court and pay for the lawyers than, and, you know, it's a way people make money. People do it all the time, not just the celebrities. People try to get in accidents to do it, you know, and fake neck injuries. They need to change those laws. They need to fix that. I mean, if you're seriously injured by somebody, then that's one thing, but to fake it so that me and you have to pay for it's a whole nother deal. From 81 to 84 was really not a great period in our life, but the kids maintained us, and Leslie was a real grounding force, and it was very difficult. They put so many injunctions on me not to work. I've been married to my wife for 20 years, and she has guided me through some of the worst times that you could possibly imagine, things that you wouldn't want your worst enemy to go through. And because of the love that she gave me, I'm still standing here. And the love she gave our kids, they're great.
A lot was made of this dark period in your life. I'm wondering...
Well, it's no big deal. It was not, you know what, it was a great period because actually I was able to stay home when my daughters were young. And I stayed home. I didn't work that much. One, because they wouldn't let me, because they put me in junctions, but that was meant to be. So that was not, you know, there was things that I would always say, well, I wouldn't wish them on my worst enemy. But at the same time, if you look back on it, I sit there and watch my youngest daughter, you know, go from 1 to 5, and I watch my oldest daughter go from, 3 to 9. So that was actually fortunate. What wasn't fortunate was some of the stuff they had to endure in the press and some of the, you know, things that some of the teasing and things that they had to endure because people just didn't know the truth, and that's always the problem. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you the whole truth now, because it's not really important. But people don't know the whole truth about the whole time, and that's bottom line.
Is there such a thing as bad publicity?
Yeah, I mean, there is bad publicity. I mean, if you get off into like a Kobe Bryant kind of thing, that kind of thing is not good. As far as entertainment, nah. You go to the P.T. Barnum School. You say anything you want about me, just make sure you spell my name right.
Give me the future, give me the future, give me the future with a modern girl.
Okay, put your hands together. You know, come on, give me a break. I hate that stuff. I've never said put your hands together in my life. I just do not go where everyone else goes. I relate to my audience like this. I relate to walking out and looking at them, reaching my hand out, taking them right by the throat and pulling them right up into it. You're going to be entertained, okay? I mean, I'm not that vicious with them, but that's the fire that I have. That's the fire that I walk on a stage with.
It's only rock and roll. It's only entertainment. I'm here to entertain you, and that's what I do.
And I say, I'm going to be worn out when this is over, but so are you.
But I always like to be a consistent performer. So I look for consistency. If I don't have consistency, then I'm not satisfied.
I always change it every night. It's the same order, but it's sort of like improv. I'm always doing something different. I don't have anything set that I ever say. Imagine going to see a play, you know, any play, you know, and the actors are you know, playing with the front row, giving them high fives and things, you know, in the middle of Hamlet's, you know, a soliloquy that, you know, dost thou not know, hey, baby, you know, and they're giving them high fives. Well, that's like going to a rock concert and they're doing the same thing. It's not real. It's not a real moment. That's the moment they're in. They're not into the moment of the song. So, you know, if you can't do it in a play, why should you be able to get away with it at a rock show? Imagine, you know, As You Like It, and they're doing All the World's a Stage, and, okay, put your hands together. You know, come on, give me a break. I hate that stuff. I've never said put your hands together in my life. If any of my body on my stage does this with their hands above their head, they're fired immediately. I just do not go where everyone else goes. It's a rock and roll show with a theatrical attitude. We pull the spring and we don't let it go till it's over.
There's so much theatricality in your music.
You're right. But a normal person would think theatrical. They tend to want to say 2 or 3 things. They want to tend to say Broadway, you know, Broadway kind of shows or musicals. They want to think in that vein. Or they want to think in what rock people know is like an Alice Cooper. This is not a put down to Alice Cooper at all. And the best way to compare it is if you take and say a circus. So let's say Alice Cooper show is a circus. And when you go see Alice Cooper, you see a tightrope walker and you see the trapeze artist, you see the ringmaster, that'd be Alice, and you see that. If you come to see me, okay, a circus, let's compare it to circus. You don't come to the circus, you come to a play about a circus, which would be Barnum. But theatrical in the sense is that Jimmy writes scenes and I play them as an actor. Yes, it is theatrical in that sense.
Ain't got no way train, ain't got no mind.
Ain't got no smoke, ain't got no job, ain't got no work, ain't got no boys, ain't got no pennies, ain't got no girl.
When I was doing theater in New York, the plays I was in not always got great reviews, but I did, and people liked my work, and nobody, you know, nobody like said what a weird name you have, and it was like, that was a really incredible period in my life, and I really loved that period. So I think what it is that I continually want to stay in that feeling.
I've heard you say that you don't really look at your career as being either a singer or an actor. It's just, if the phone rings, you'll pick it up and say, yeah, I can do
No,
that.
it's actually, if the phone rings, I won't pick it up. I hate the phone. That's the opposite. And when I'm home, I get scripts all the time. All the time, you know, FedEx or Messenger bringing me scripts. So I read the scripts. I talk to my agent, or my manager, my theatrical manager. I talk to them.
Because you ask 10 different people what comes first, you know, singer or actor. If I say the words Meatloaf, you're gonna get, you know,
Singer.
No,
Really?
I think
Nowadays, more maybe actor.
I think acting. Is there one more that you would like to align yourself with more than the other?
Well, I think I've always had.
It's just a jump to the left.
I stood in front of Elvis like a complete moron because he saw the Rocky Horror Show. And you did a good job, not son. Thanks. Did you find it? You know, and he was asking me these questions, and you find it difficult to. I'm going, no, sir. And he goes, waiting for some response other than like one word from me. And I stood there and went, okay, well, thanks, bye, and left.
My head used to swim from the perfume I smell. My hands kind of fumble with the wet plastic bell. I tasted Amy pink lipstick and that's when it melted. She whispered in my ear tonight she really was mine.
I don't think it's a varied career. I think it's just, I think a lot of rock performers could do a lot of different things if they geared themselves to go for it, you know, but I think they're scared, they're afraid to take the steps. They're successful in one area, they're afraid to take steps in the other area and be a failure in another area. Some people are afraid to put themselves on the line to go that far. I'm not, I don't care.
You still say you see yourself as an actor, not a musician.
I am an actor. I am not, I have no, I can't even talk to musicians. All my friends from 1969 to the present day are actors. I'm not a singer. I'm an actor. Cornelius! It's me, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
We all thought you were dead.
No, still here. How are you, Bob?
Better than I've ever been in my whole life. I read more scripts than I read books. That's what I read on airplanes. When I fly, I'll generally carry like 3 or 4 scripts with me, and that's what I read. When I look at movie scripts, I take the ones that I can't figure out how in the hell you could possibly do it. How do you play this character? If I read the script and it goes, oh yeah, oh I got this guy. I go, I'm not interested. You wouldn't believe how many films I've turned down because, I mean, big pictures, because I don't want to play that. That's a piece of cake. What is that going to do for me? They go, well, they're going to pay you that much. Yeah, but that's not going to do anything for me. And it's about how I feel about it. I'd much rather take no money and play something interesting that is totally not me and totally against everything that has in my personality and pull it and try to pull it off. You know a hell of a lot. I'm gonna catch her. You're gonna help me.
You can't make me. I know about you. I saw what you did.
What'd I do?
You killed Taylor Jackson.
The best compliment that I can get, and I get it all the time, is that people go, so what movies have you done? I go, Fight Club? You were in Fight Club? My name is Bob. Bob? Yeah, it was Bob. Bob! Oh! Oh, you were! Or, well, I was in Crazy in Alabama. I was the sheriff. That was you! So that's like a big compliment to me that I lose that they don't go, oh, look, there's Meatloaf. Try and take me down. I understand the fact that I'm a celebrity because people are always coming up to me and talking to me and wanting autographs and things, but I couldn't deal with the word star. I had this real problem with being a star, and I still do, in the sense that I don't carry that baggage with me. I refuse. I love people who go to airports incognito with 11 bodyguards. I perform a service, the same as a plumber, the same as an electrician, the same as the policeman, and I really believe that, though. And I don't believe that I'm necessary. I believe that if I can bring some entertainment to people's lives, that's great. But I'm not a necessity, and I'm not entitled to anything that people that are necessities are entitled to. And so the idea of rock and roll or any entertainment star, and they do believe this, their attitude towards entitlement, I have a real problem with, and I tell them so.
I know you can save me, no one else can save me now but you. As long as the planets are turning, as long as the stars are burning, as long as your dreams are coming true, you better believe it, that I would do anything for love.
There's one thing that I can say. Some nights I suck live, at least that's my opinion. But I know that I'll never not give everything I have to every moment that I'm doing whatever I'm doing.
And I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. No, I won't do that. I would do anything for love, anything you've been dreaming of, but I just won't do that. I would do anything for love, anything you've been dreaming of, but I just won't do.
It wasn't even we ever split apart. We had the same manager, and I fired him in Thanksgiving of 1980. I fired a manager, and there was a war for 5 years. And it was really a very vicious war. And he obviously, they didn't want us working together. You know, they wanted Jimmy to do it on his own, and they didn't care what I did. And so the minute that settled, that was settling sometime near the end of '84. In January of '85, I saw Jimmy and I started to talk, and in '86 we decided to do it again. But then the record company I was on didn't want to do the record. We shopped around for about 9 months, and then 6 months trying to negotiate the deal. And then December of '90 we started. And we finished this January.
I would do anything for love, anything you've been dreaming of, but I just won't do that.
Why did you wait so long to bring up the sequel?
It's not even a matter of waiting so long. It's here when it's supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be before now. I wasn't ready. I don't think Jimmy was ready. I don't know if the world was ready for me the second time around. It's here when it's supposed to be.
That's when rock and roll dreams come true.
Yeah, you need a good thrill every 15 years, yeah.
Keep on believing, and you'll discover, baby, there's always something magic. There's always something. There's always something new. And when you really, really need it the most, that's when rock and roll dreams come true.
What the world calls commercial success is a comeback. Personal success is a comeback, because I really lost it from, 79 pretty much to 84. And because of my wife, like I said, I came back in '85, not to what everybody considers as commercial success and selling millions and millions of records, but to personal success, because I came back and I started recording again and I started enjoying my work. That's what really counts. And I was saying that up to '93, and everybody would sit around and look at me and go, yeah, that's just because he hadn't sold any records. They're called cynics. And now then, after Bat 2 and it sold 12 million, I still have the same philosophy, that success is in your mind. It's not how much money you got in your pocket or how many records you sell.
I'll probably never know where she disappeared, but I can see her rising up out of the backseat now, just like an angel rising up from a tomb.
Oh, I've already got what I wanted from this record. It's not even what I want. I got it already. I got the satisfaction of knowing that I finished this record and that I'm in love with this record. When I walk on stage, I'm going to 11. I'm going to lose myself completely, because that's who I am. And to do that, you got to strip yourself completely naked and bear the emotion out and go to 11. And I want people to enjoy my work. I really do.
The big thing is you have the passion. You have the passion here.
I have the passion.
You have the passion on stage.
See, but that's what it's all about. And that's what we lost in 1978. And I'll be damned if I ever lose it again.
Not a smile left on my face.
people have said to me, well, you don't write the songs, how can you possibly feel them? I've just looked at them like, you know what, I think you just probably made the most ignorant statement you possibly could make, because then that's like saying to Brando or De Niro or going to anybody that's ever done a Shakespeare piece and say, you know what, you just didn't get it because you didn't write it. And it's just like, you just want to slap them.
What was the video that you made where it was like an Indiana Jones? Was that
Oh, I'd Lie for You, yeah.
Do you know if Harrison has seen it?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, we showed it to him when he was live on Munch.
Uh-huh.
Are you familiar with Meatloaf? Of course you are.
Sure I am.
Yeah. His latest video, have you seen it?
The...
Do you know where I'm going with this? Yeah. So do elements of this look familiar? Because you can see.
More than just a little. Yeah. But this just came out, right? I mean, like in the
2
last
weeks ago.
6
That's
weeks
what I mean.
ago?
They're so endearing, your characters.
Well,
But you did tell him I wasn't playing the Harrison Ford character. I was playing the comic sidekick. But now if I see him again, I'll tell him, so you were watching my video, were you?
You have the right to remain silent. I'll get the lights. You get that smile and you say nothing at all. Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. Tonight the conversation takes the fall. Just love me like you love nobody else.
The weird thread throughout your entire career, whenever you put out a record, is it never sounds like what's going on at the charts at that time.
Nah, it's not supposed to. And it's not. It never does. You're right. It never does. We didn't sit out and go, okay, we're going to do this. This is just what evolved. I mean, I never fit in, okay? I'm on an island all by myself, babe. There's different people that it just doesn't fit. I mean, we don't try to do that. It's like, you know, Monet, back when he started doing Impressionist paintings, that was totally against everything. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like it's against the trend. It's what you do. It's what he does. I don't listen to music, so I couldn't tell you what was going on.
I see the angels, they're standing right outside your door. They're watching over me, they're watching over us all. Well, you can send them home tonight, 'cause you won't need them anymore.
I've done 9 albums in 33 years, so let's just go from there. You have to take away Bat Out of Hell, and then you go from there. After that, it's the best record I've ever done, by far. None better, without a doubt.
I step in your door and I stare at your face, and there's so many things that I wish I could say.
I've gotten close before, but always been pressured on time. The only other record that we were never pressured on time for was Bat Out of Hell. We didn't get pressured. There was no time pressure. Nobody knew we were recording it.
You get that smile and you say nothing at all. Well, I couldn't have said it better myself.
What would you like to be remembered for?
Oh, for the same as the Boy Scouts. Trustworthy, loyal, and truthful. And also for never striking out in a softball game.
People were scared of you early on, though.
That's good. That's good. They should be scared of me. I'm a scary guy.
You're a sweetheart. What are you talking about?
You know my image now. I've had this image too long for you to come along and just ruin it like that.
And I know you feel the same. You've been searching for the words. Now you know what to say. Oh, yeah.
I've coached a lot of baseball and hardball and softball girls and boys, and that's always my philosophy with them when we were playing is, you know, go out there and have fun. Try your hardest, give it everything you got, And if you win or lose, it doesn't make any difference. It's about how you feel about how you played the game. And that's the theory for anything you do, really. If you're a plumber or a baker, it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you played the game. Did you give everything you had to making that donut this morning?
One day, because you're still in the thick of it, but you can look back at your career and know that those are the words you've lived by.
Oh, I've totally lived by them. And it's like I've always said, success isn't measured by number of records sold. And if I hadn't sold any records, people go, that's because you didn't sell any records. But I've sold some records, so I can say it's not measured by that. That is not your measure of success. It's how do you feel, how do you feel on an overall scale? Did you give everything you had? And there's one thing that I can say. Some nights I suck live, at least that's my opinion. But I know that I'll never not give everything I have to every moment that I'm doing whatever I'm doing. It may not be good, but I'm trying.
And I would do anything for love. I'd run right into hell.